Welcome. Let's get in here. Let's get in here. Who we got showing up today? Who we got showing up today? Oh yeah. I got a good guest. I got a good guest. This is one of my dear longtime childhood friends about to come to the building. Pod is good. Pod is good. All right, send that. All right, we'll wait for him to jump in here. He'll be here shortly. All right, so today, I know what we're gonna get into. You know what I'm saying? This guest, we could end up talking martial arts. By the way, it's your man Cashman, California. I am back. We are here, episode 2 of Pod is Good. Feels good. I hope y'all enjoyed the last episode. If you did not watch it and you love any political debate, please go back and check out episode 1 with my man South Central Conservative. Incredible conversation. Amazing guy. Make sure you tap into him. This episode 2, I don't know where we're going because pod is good all the time. We can go martial arts. We can go health. We can go black culture. We can go music and its inception. We can go tech. We can go astrology, numerology. We can go so many places with this particular guest. He's one of my favorite guys in the world. I love being on the phone with him. So I told him the moment we get the show lit, he has to be on it. These are my exact words to him. He has to be on it. So I see him in the chat. What up? What up? What's good with y'all? I see you. I see y'all. I see y'all. And we got a good one today, buddy. We got a good one. If you into martial arts, fighting, hip hop, black culture, tech, fatherhood, the family dynamic. I mean, you name it. If you're into any of those things or any offshoot of those, please tap in with us. This is going to be a special episode. This will be a special episode. As soon as I get my guy on, I sent him the link. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out some martial arts information. We were recently talking about the history of martial arts, and I didn't even realize, breaking down the words of martial arts, where it actually came from. And then my man blessed me. He was like, yo, it's this and this and this. And the shocker is it goes way beyond Asian culture. What? What? You telling me that when everybody was kung fu fighting, you telling me that wasn't like the beginning? Those kids were huh, you telling me that they weren't the come on, that's what I know. I know that it started there. It made its way to Western culture. We started to adopt it. It went to Hollywood. The rest is history. But it turns out I don't actually know my history. It turns out I don't know my history. What up, fellow? See you doing your thing. Thank you. Salute, G. Salute. I'm gonna get you on the show too. How you been? I ain't talked to you in a minute. We were having conversations about what was it? Um, what was it? Christianity, or was it? It might have been Black Christianity. We were having some kind of conversation. I can't remember what it was, but we should have it more. How you been though, man? Who was rapping? Yes, yes. We used to be downtown 129th Street. Like, yeah, that's my guy right there, Big J. We used to really like what they show in movies or shows when they make it seem like Oh yeah, people used to show up at somebody's house and they just start rapping or they start dancing, and it might just be a couple of them like just like in love and infatuated with the art of hip hop, and they be doing their thing. Like, no, 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 that's a real thing. That's a real thing. Like we wasn't from Brooklyn, we wasn't from the boogie down, we wasn't from Harlem. We were Cali kids, and we were still getting together and blessing the invisible mic, the air mic. You know what I'm saying? They always talk about air guitars and air drums. Like there's an air mic. You know what I'm saying? It look a little crazy sometimes, so maybe we don't do it because that kind of look a little crazy. Pause, but it is a real thing. I'm doing good. About to get married. You about to get married? Congrats, congrats, my G. Congrats. I'm I'm 7 years in a week, July 1st, actually. So congrats. Bless you and your queen. Is it somebody I know? Is it somebody from back in the, you know what I'm saying? Like back in the town? Is is it somebody that I know? Because if it is, I need to know. You know what I'm saying? I needs to know. Um, where my guy at? Ready when you are. Oh, so maybe he didn't get the text. Hold on. Let me resend. Cause I got a guest. Stay around, Jay. Stay around. I got a guest. Um, and this guest, you actually know him. You know this guest. You know this guest, and you are going to enjoy this conversation with him. So if you got some time, please, please, please stand by. Please stand by. The doors will be closing very shortly. Everybody get on the train. The doors will be closing. No one from back home. Congratulations on your 7 years. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that. The whole neighborhood looks different. Dude, it looks nothing like what it used to look like. Like, even you remember we had that big field that we would cross, you know what I'm saying? Like going to school or whatever, and it was that huge grass field, gone, as you already know. Like developments everywhere. I drive around there like I don't even know this place, bro. Like we didn't this ain't the hood. This is come on, man. Our hood was already gentrified. Like we didn't need to re-gentrify it. We already saw what it was like when we had, we was a little military town. So we already had a lot of the, Filipinos and stuff that came in. And so we already saw gentrification back then. And then they like re-gentrified it. They went gentrified 2.0. I do remember him. I do remember Claudel. I do remember him. How's he been? How has he been? Do you still talk to him? Claudel, man, that's part of the clique. Claudel. I don't know if you remember Wayne. I'm trying not to name the person that's coming on because he's very synonymous with that field I was just talking about. You feel me? That's a clue. That's an inside clue. Only you will know. Nobody else that is watching or that will watch knows anything about knows anything about that. Um, but you know him. And I think I got him on. I think I got him on. So Jay, hold on. Let me bring on my guest, my guy. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, this is one of my favorite people in the world. So I had to get him here on episode 2 of Pod is Good so that our dynamic and our conversations that heal and rejuvenate us can do the same for y'all. I would have it no other way. I told him the moment I get my show, you on the show, bro. And you're not on the show one time. You're on the show like over and over and over. Like you're like a foundational part of this show. I might not even be sitting here with a show if it wasn't for this incredible incredible young man. So I want y'all to clap it up for my friend, the longtime homie, my brother, Mr. Sheldon. Sheldon. I'm not gonna put your last name out there. I almost said
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
had to back off real quick. Hold on, Jay. Hold on. This ain't just us at the crib. What's good, homie?
What's good? Can you hear me okay?
I do. You,
Okay.
you can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you good. I hear you good. Let me move over a little bit. I didn't know it was gonna cut off the camera,
Yeah,
so let me
yeah,
get a
it
little
did that to
closer.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
getting it right. Well, welcome, man. I know you heard your introduction. I'm happy to have you here. I'm excited
Yeah.
about the show. I know that whatever we talk about is gonna be a delight. In the chat, I don't know if Jay want me to release his name, but uh there's a there's one of the homies that used to live and he sees it. Hold on, I don't know if you can see his see the chat.
Yeah, I see
Um
that.
so he used to
What's
live
cracking?
couple of blocks down from me. Went to Sullivan with us. Um his initials are JG.
Okay.
Um
I think I
and
know who that is.
and yeah,
The
he
big
goes by
homie.
Jay Militant in the
Word,
social
word.
media dynamic. And my
Yeah.
man is getting married.
Whoa, congratulations.
He is getting married, and he
Wow.
said it's nobody from the town. It's nobody from
Okay, nobody from the
it's
town. Okay.
nobody from the town.
Oh
So
man.
so congratulations to you. Without further ado, let's get into the thick of it. So I was saying, once I get this guest on, we might end up talking about the history of martial arts. We could end up talking about music, black culture, fatherhood, tech, spirituality. We can go in so many directions as our conversations always do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's been us for forever. Background, me and my guy have been friends since grade school. Like, this is one of my day ones for real, for real. One of my closest friends on this planet that we exist on right now. So, with that being said, I'm gonna start off with something light. Give me a top 5 female rap artists of all time.
Ah, snap.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go. Let's
Okay.
get into it.
So I know I people argue with me about this one.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. Appreciate the share, bro.
People argue with me about this one all the time.
Yeah.
I'll probably say my number one is Missy Elliott.
Ooh,
Straight up.
I like it. You know,
Yeah,
I love some Missy,
yeah.
and I
Missy's
respect
ridiculous.
it because I don't think I've ever heard Missy on a top list. Like she's well underrated. That's an interesting pick. I like it.
Yeah,
I
well
like it.
underrated. I gotta throw Lauren Hill in there, for sure.
Well, you
Um,
got to.
I gotta throw Queen Latifah in there.
Let's go. Let's go.
See, I'm going old school. You
I
know what I
love it.
mean?
I
You can
love
see
it.
this.
Foundational.
Um, I gotta throw uh I gotta throw MC Light in because she was my
Mm,
first favorite female rapper,
yeah.
right? She was my
Yeah.
first favorite female rapper for sure. Um, I wish I could say there
Light
was
heavy.
somebody contemporary right now, but um I think, and I know I got one more, but I'm at a loss, um, because you know I'm trying to think of who else I could throw in there that really spoke to me,
Hmm. Yeah.
other than those ladies that I already named, and there really isn't anyone I could think of right now who speaks to me like that.
Hold on,
But
hold
yeah,
on. Let's
yeah,
let's go back through it before we hit number 5. This is gonna give you a chance to just kind of consider some of the recent songs, even if you got to go 10 years, you got to go 20 years back. You still that still can be very contemporary
right,
in the hip hop world. That's just celebrating 50, right?
yeah,
So at the top of the list, we got Missy Elliott. I don't know if you're
Missy
giving
Elliott.
them 1 through 5, but
Yeah, that's yeah. I'm giving them in that.
dope.
Yeah.
All right, so number 1, Missy Elliott, I can't
Mm.
stand the rain.
I can't stand
I
the rain.
can't stand the
Even what
damn
she
rain.
dropped a couple years ago was stupid. And I mean, even what I saw, like the dance world kind of went nuts because they was waiting for some Missy Elliott stuff,
Right,
and everybody
right,
was doing choreography to it, and
right.
it was cool. I was like no matter what, she comes up with something that's going to be creative. I've even had people try to
Always.
argue to me that she's not really a rapper, that she's an entertainer. I'm sorry, she's all the above. Like
Right,
she's
like you can't be both.
yeah, she's the most creative. um she stands in a category of her own,
She does
like beyond like just female rappers. She's
easily.
one of my top rappers, like, you
Dope,
know what I mean?
fire.
So
And I remember on the album, and she was saying that rappers, y'all don't all got to be so tough and ready to ice grill and mean mug. Like back in the day, you had Kwame, you had Big Daddy Kane that was dancing and still having a good time and being assertive with the flow. Like it don't
right.
gotta be. I'm just so hard, so tough. I took on this persona that I can't show you my other side. Like not only just humans, but black people especially, we're so dynamic. None of us are just one thing.
Nah,
I'm
never.
pretty sure that as hard as Game is on his tracks, when he around his granny, he different. When he around his kids, he different. When he around that one chick that he was feeling, he different. When he around that one homeboy that just they crack jokes all the time, he different. But we don't get to see all those layers of people. And I felt like Missy is kind of one of those almost like cut from the early cloth artist that's like, I'm gonna give you all of me. So I'm gonna play
Right.
in videos. I'm gonna be silly. My head is gonna swivel off my body. I'm gonna spit into somebody's mouth. I'm hanging upside down. But I'm also, if you listen to it, and you can attest to it because you put her at number one, I'm also going to go full fledged in the art.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
skip out on the art. It
Yeah.
don't gotta be one or the other. So, like your guy said, that or whoever argued that she's an entertainer, it's like, yes, I'm gonna go full fledged on the art. Once the art is done, once Timberland puts that polish on it, then guess what? Now I'm going over here and I'm going full fledged on the entertainment.
Oh, and then I gotta say this. She don't even need Timbaland because she's a
That's a
producer
fact.
too.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? She's done stuff without Tim that's just ridiculous. She can sing. She's
Yep.
like everything. Like
She's like everything.
she could do whatever she wants. Like so to me, if there was one person,
Yeah.
she would be that for sure.
So we had Missy. Was the next one Latifah or was it somebody else before Latifah?
I think it might have been Latifah, but I don't know.
Okay,
I don't
so
remember.
we got the Queen. I
Hmm.
feel like it was Missy, somebody, Queen, Light.
You're right. You're
Who am I
right.
missing?
Why am I forgetting what I said already?
All right, it'll come to us.
You'll
So
come. Yeah.
number three, we got the Queen, which is
Yeah.
fire because I see where you're going.
Hmm.
You appreciate the multifaceted artist.
Right. For sure. Because I'm a
The art,
multifaceted person. So I respect that more than anything. Queen
yeah,
Latifah's an actress. She could sing. She's got the lyrics,
model,
but all of that.
yeah.
Actress. I mean, I was definitely, had a crush back in the living single days. You know what I
Oh,
mean? You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. And
Uh-oh.
so, and the funny thing is, like, all of these were my favorite rappers in kind of reverse order. You know what I mean? Because MC Light was first, Queen Latifah was second. Why am I blanking
We're blanking. It's some.
on a third? And then Missy
Oh, was it
came out.
Lauren?
Lauren Hill, yes, thank you, thank
Lauren,
you, thank you,
Lauren.
Lauren
Okay,
Hill.
you can't
So
forget about Lauren.
once again, Lauren Hill,
All of it,
ridiculous, all of it.
all of it.
Actress,
Artist.
singer, artist, just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Um,
literally an artist, a creator.
Right.
Like that.
This
That's
and
what
this
you
is the
like,
thing this is the thing about Lauryn Hill is that Lauryn Hill got cut short,
big time.
but she's still that big.
That big.
You know what I
She,
mean?
she
Like
has
she's still
one album,
right.
well, at least one solo album that she sings on it more than she raps,
Hmm.
but people hold it up as one of the top female rap albums of all time.
Of
That's
all time.
incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So that's what I'm
that's like
saying.
my old school argument about Pac and Big, which is like a lifelong argument. But I used to always say, look at how much work Pac put out.
Hmm.
Look how much work Big put out. and you're splitting hairs trying to figure out who's best. To me, that's the same as I let you rap for an hour. Like I let you get off all your bars, all your songs, you spitting freestyles, you coming up with stuff off the top, and everybody's listening. And then I spit 4 bars. And for the next year, they're trying to figure out who was better. I don't know.
Well, you don't want to get into this with me because you're already starting something by
Oh, I
saying
know.
this. You know what I mean? Because I gotta segue a little bit because you can't just drop a load and then you know what I'm saying, go
Let's
to some
deal
other
with it.
stuff.
Let's go pick
Okay,
it up.
look, that's like comparing LL Cool J to who's more modern. Because you got to understand
Drake.
Drake. Yes, they're perfect, right? Even though Drake got more catalog.
Yeah,
The problem with the comparison is you're comparing a veteran to a new person. Like
right.
it's not apples to apples, right? It's apples to oranges.
Right.
Pac was back in the day. Brenda's Got a Baby. Like we wouldn't compare any of our veterans. We wouldn't. I mean, LL Cool J got compared to Cannabis, and then what happened?
Right.
Right? You
Hold
know what I
on.
mean?
Who won the battle?
LL Cool J.
Okay, we'll talk about that another time.
I mean, he
we
and it
won't
wasn't
segue from the segue, but we'll talk
yeah.
about
So, okay, and the thing was, it wasn't even that he could just bar this dude out. It was like he had the stature that could go, whatever. People still love Pac, and the thing is about Pac's music is that you could play Pac songs today, and they still work. A lot of the stuff that was coming out with the take that, take that, take that sound a little dated.
but it still worked. You
A
can't
little
front. You
dated.
can put on. I'm going back to Cali right now, and the clubs still go up. It ain't. It ain't like, oh goodness, you put on the Wild Wild West. It's like no, you go.
Wow, wow, West.
You gonna give it. You gonna give it as good. Everybody gonna be like, I'm going back to Cali. Come on, man.
Yeah, but first of all, he's
Come
talking
on.
about Cali. Second of all, if somebody ain't nothing but a gangster party.
They both got hit, but this is why it's a good argument, though, because even though I agree with what you're saying that like they kind of came out in 2 different time frames, the I think the biggest part is they reached their heights in similar time frame. So it ain't like like by the time Drake comes out, LL Cool J is a has been. But if Drake comes out and he's been out some years before J. Cole, but they're still out and they're still dominating. You can still compare them, even though one might have had an
No,
earlier
it's
head start.
it's like comparing J. Cole to Mos Def. Like it doesn't make sense. Like it doesn't mean that you can't. It's not like you can't compare them, but like one had this span that was this span and created its own energy, right?
Mhm.
And then another one came out at the same time. The only reason that they're comparable is because they had a beef. If they never had a beef, there would never be a comparison. We don't compare
I don't
Busta
disagree with that.
Rhymes. We don't
Yeah, I
we
don't
don't
disagree.
compare Busta Rhymes to LL Cool J. We don't do that. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
And mind you, they both got a hell of a catalog, but we don't compare them because they occupied 2 different spaces. And if they had a beef, now we're starting to compare. You know what I mean? There would not be a versus battle between those two. It wouldn't make sense.
I don't disagree if you're just talking about art form, but I do think that timing does dictate how we compare things. I think, even if you looked at any other thing that we kind of piece against each other, whether it's, this movie versus this movie, or Star Wars versus Star Trek, like, or this president versus this president, like sometimes it's just a fact that they are sitting in front of you at the same time. And so now, whether you created the beef, whether you put them in front of you or not, it's like you have to look at them. Comparing Little Kim and Nicki Minaj to me is like, that doesn't make sense. But because Nicki, I mean, sorry, not Nicki, because Kim is talking bad about Nicki and talking about how you stole my this and saying, I want a versus with you because you can't stand. And then Nicki's like, I don't need you. They created it. So now in our time, it just happens to stand in front of you. And then you have to go, okay, if they do a versus, who's better? Like you're forced
I like what my man
into
Jay
the
just
decision.
said. I like what my man Jay just said. He said Life
What
After
did he
Death
say?
showed the growth of Big, where Pac was already there, and that's true. Like, like Big grew up in that album, and I like that album. That was definitely one of his best albums, even though it was his last one, unfortunately, right? But
Yeah.
but Pac was already on some other shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to knock
Yeah.
him, but segue to segue, have you
Mhm.
heard the AI version of Big rapping Pac's lyrics?
I have not, and I'm scared. Let me not be scared. We're gonna do it on the show. We're gonna broadcast
Yeah.
it, but I have not heard that. I am scared because I heard a rendition of Drake. What was it? Drake and the Weekend. They had a Drake and the Weekend song, and they performed all of it. It wasn't spot on,
But it's
but
ridiculous.
it was there. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It was in the space that you're like, ooh, that's
That's
that's scary
scary.
for something that we're just getting started on. Like that can go
Right.
someplace.
Yeah, it's real scary. It's real scary. So, so now, battles can be something different than they were before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know where we're going with all of this. I don't really like to compare MCs. I just like to look at them in their body of work as their own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have my preferences though, obviously, because I don't want to knock Big or anything like that, because that's not my thing. And a lot of people will be like, "Oh, well, you knocking Big, and oh, you West Coast, East Coast." No, it's more just like I can enjoy that. But there is some things to really say about this too. Nobody really wants to say this.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Yeah, nobody wants to say this. This
Uh-oh.
is this is this is touchy.
Okay.
One of the things that made Big so big, pun intended, um, rapping Old Coast at the trade out. It looked like we got stuck. Did you hear what I said?
I didn't. I didn't.
Okay.
Hey, Jay, tell me if it got choppy to you as well. I don't know if it's just on our end or if the stream is good. But yeah, can you say it again?
I said Big was rapping over beats at the time that were considered West Coast beats, meaning that we rapped over those beats already, right? You know what I mean? We had a lot of songs to like everything that he rapped to at that point, because those were the type of stuff. Like, remember, I was one of those dudes in high school that was considered East Coast, right? You remember you
Mhm.
remember the battles we used to have. Everybody used to say, "Oh, you guys are
Yep.
East Coast," because we had
Right.
a flow pattern that wasn't like the local stuff that was going on the West Coast, which was more
Yeah.
slump and funk and all this kind of stuff like that. The East Coast
Yep.
primarily rapped to beats that involve like jazz. You know what I mean? Jazz samples,
Yeah.
stuff like that. They were not rapping to the funk. I mean, every now and then you have like a De La Soul doing something to some George Clinton, but George Clinton is kind of like universal at this point as far as samples are concerned. But so that was
Okay.
that that
Thanks, Jay.
that was the big deal. And you got to remember, one of the things that like the West Coast, you remember what it was like with the girls in high school. They would like some West Coast stuff because they liked the beats,
Oh, I remember what it was like with the girls in high
right?
school.
So they liked the West Coast beats. They didn't care what the dude was saying. He could be calling them all kind of B's and H's. And I'd be like, "You really like that?" And they'd be like, "I like the beat." And I'd be like, "Okay, all
Right.
right." You know what I'm saying?
But you know that's still to today.
Yeah.
That's like your average consumer, and this is like a broad stroke term to use, but your average consumer cares more about that it feels good than that it sounds good. See, like people that are into the lyricism of it, or even someone who's into the technical parts of the beat, making the beat composition, they're listening to the sounds, they're listening to sound choices, listen to lyric choices, they're listening to rhyme patterns, they're listening like what's
But
there.
you got to remember,
They're breaking
there
it
was a distinction between how the ladies at the time were listening to hip hop and how the dudes were listening to hip hop. We were kind of into the aggressive nature of it, the lyricism, the "I'm the
right,
best," like all of this
right,
testosterone driven stuff. The girls, they wanted to
exactly.
dance and have a good time, right? It was a completely
They
different
want to
thing.
feel good. Yeah,
So
yeah.
we were all into Rakim. We was like, "Oh man, this dude's spitting bars." We was into all of that kind of stuff like that. But when it came to having fun and all that kind of stuff, that's the stuff that was more appealing at that time. So when Big came out, he came out with two things. He came out with the East Coast lyricism, but he was rapping over West Coast. And when I say West Coast, I'm saying the beats that we had already rapped to, that they weren't making beats like that on the East Coast. They weren't.
I mean, I think I'm with you on the West. I mean, obviously I'm Kashmir, California, but I think that you forgetting a lot of Big's catalog to say that he was rapping over beats that were already. If you go back and listen to Warning, you go back and listen to Sky's the Limit.
I'm
You
talking
go
about the
back
ones
and
that
listen
got
to.
big over here. You know what I mean?
I
You
mean,
remember what
Sky's the Limit was huge.
Skies? Well, that came out after he had already set the tone. He set the tone with the West Coast beats.
He set the tone with what? Juicy
Yep.
and.
Already rapped over that over here.
But a lot of people had already rapped over it over there too.
No, I'm trying to tell you, man, it was a completely different vibe. And the only reason it stands out
I mean,
to
that
me
was
is
smart
because
though. I'm
it
not
was
not.
hella smart.
I don't think that you're wrong. I'm just trying
Mm-mm.
to. I guess I was trying to highlight other parts of the catalog. But you're saying later on he might have moved on and
Right,
done his
because he
own
could.
thing. But in the
Yeah,
beginning,
yeah, he established himself, so at that point he could do it. But so that to me, what he did was influenced by his relationship with Pac, right?
yeah,
Because Pac was already on that page, right? He understood that. He
yeah,
understood Pac. The ladies love Pac still to this day.
to this day,
Big understood that. He was like, yo, I'm trying to do that too. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So they was homies in the beginning until it went left. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying is like it was a smart business move, and I'm not knocking Big for that. I'm not saying that makes him weak or nothing like that, but I'm just saying that this was something that was already established, and that's part of the reason why I don't compare the two. I leave them in their own category.
No, you can't. You can't. I see you trying to get out of it. You can't. They are not in their own category. They're in one category, and that's Pac versus Big.
No, it's not. It's not. It's totally not.
Matter of fact, I'll prove it because if you think about what you just said, someone could argue that Pac did the same thing. Pac had more of a smooth style. Pac had more of a charisma about him. But then when you go back and listen to a lot of his early tracks, when you listen to When My Homies Call, it don't sound like a West Coast beat.
Oh, it totally sounds like a West Coast beat. Are you kidding? That was one of my favorite songs.
To me, that
beat.
sounds like that's reminiscent of like Far Side style. And to me, they had a East Coast influence as well.
Nah, I'm telling you,
they were a different version of what West Coast sounded like during that time.
But I will say this: back in those days, there really wasn't as much of a as much of a disconnect in the early days of hip hop, because you got to remember, how did Ice Cube flow back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He had that cadence that we relate to. The DOC, how did he flow back in those days?
Right.
And I still think today, out of LA, we see that thing that almost could be considered like somebody might say that you're East Coast. However, and I know from the Bay up, there is a distinct West Coast sound.
All right, so what's your favorite Pac verse?
My favorite Pac verse.
Yeah, if you just threw one out.
Me Against the World.
Me Against the World. All right, we're gonna pull it up. We're gonna and then we're gonna move on and get back to our top. And we already half an hour in. We're gonna move on and get back to our top 5 females. We had Missy Elliott, Lauryn Hill, which we still got to talk about, Queen Latifah, MC Light, and you still got to round that list off. You still got to round that list off.
See, you know, the hard thing.
What Pac song did you say?
Me Against the World.
Me Against the World.
Oh, and what's that other song? Lord, I shed so many tears. That song I forgot. That song right there. Yeah. That's my favorite Pac song.
Okay, we're gonna do that one. You got more excited about that one.
Yeah.
So Many Tears.
So Many Tears. Yes, So Many Tears was crazy.
That's a good song.
Yes, and the homie said Pac did have some East Coast songs. Yes, you gotta remember he's half East Coast, half West Coast himself.
Well, I know, but I was only pointing it out to say he did it in the same way you're saying what Big did, he did
Mhm.
it strategically as well. When he
Mhm.
was trying to appeal to East Coast, he
Mhm.
got beats that sounded more East Coast. When
Mhm.
then he was trying to appeal to the West Coast, all of a sudden he rocking with Roger Troutman. It's
Right,
like
right, right.
now that also shows the growth of an artist because people evolve. You know, there might be a certain
Sure.
sound you was connected to then, and later on you feeling something different. So I'm not saying it was all strategy. I'm just saying, for all we know, we can say that same thing about Big. Maybe Big just grew up with his mom and she used to always listen to those kind of joints. Maybe he wasn't even making the choices. Maybe it was more Puffy. And Puffy was just like, yo, I'm feeling this. I'm feeling this funk. I think we should bring that over here. And it's more of his direction and not something that you can say Big made a choice to do.
Well, I mean, Big had a team. He wasn't just over there by himself. And also, you got to remember that Dr. Dre had come out and made one of the biggest albums, The Chronic, before that came out. So everybody was influenced by that. That's the reason why we call that Dr. Dre whistle, which is really Benny Worrell doing his thing back in the
Mhm,
day,
mhm.
right? The Dr. Dre whistle became a big thing. Why was that in? I love it when you call me Big Papa, because Dr. Dre had just dropped that, right? So we know like where the influence were coming from.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't even know if what I'm saying it even matters. It's just like I feel like once again, I feel like they're in two different categories because of the history of Pac and how much he had done before Big came out.
Yeah.
Big's smaller catalog. I think Big was memorable. He made his mark. He did his thing in his time period, and they had a beef, so that connected to them. But if they never had a beef, if they was cool the whole time, nobody would be comparing them.
No one compare. It would be like comparing like Ludacris and Busta Rhymes. It's like you never pit them against each other
No,
because
yeah.
it's so different. No, I
And you
don't.
could like them both. You can be like, I love Busta Rhymes and I love Ludacris, but you wouldn't compare them. And that's all I'm saying. I'm
Right.
not trying to make one better than the other. I
Right.
obviously have my preferences, but like, you know what I
Speaking
mean?
speaking of your preferences,
Hmm.
we about to read through the lyrics of the legend, of the great, of the incomparable Tupac Shakur. Also, as my man Jay Militant said, as this is his favorite song as well. Now I'm not gonna give it all the Pac swag, even though I could do that. My impressions are pretty good.
Elementary.
I'm gonna just I'm
Sipping
gonna
on
just read through
Hennessy.
it because this is like touted right now as one of his best verses. I'm just gonna go through the first verse, right?
Yeah. All right.
All right, back in elementary, I thrived on misery. Left me alone. I grew up amongst the dying breed. Inside my mind, couldn't find a place to rest until I got that thug life tatted on my chest. Tell me, can you feel me? I'm not living in the past. You want to last? Be the first to blast. Remember Cato. No longer with us, he's deceased. Call on the sirens. See him murdered in the streets. Now rest in peace. This is fire. Is there a heaven for a G? Remember me. So many homies in the cemetery shed so many tears. All right. That's dense. I mean, it's a short verse.
Hmm.
It looks like it's
And
maybe like
and
an
and then you
eight
know what?
bar
So when
verse.
I heard this verse, I didn't
Mhm.
even know about Cato. I started learning about all of this stuff through the internet recently, and I was like, "Oh man, Pac was talking about." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like Pac is multi-layered. He's not just saying one thing. He's saying a bunch of things in a really short span. So
Yeah.
you know
That's a
that's
good. And
yeah.
just a real quick, Jay, that's a good point. Shock G was around helping him with his sound as well. That is
Hmm.
very valid.
Hmm.
Very valid. All right, so you know what I'm doing here. So
I know
now I
what you're
gotta.
doing. I already know where you're going with this. Now you're gonna go look at
I'm,
some big lyrics
I'm
and you're
trying
gonna
to
do
figure
some
out.
comparison.
I'm trying to figure out who. I mean, what song though? Um. Maybe something to pop up.
You always like 10 crack commandments,
I always love 10, but I feel like that's a cheat code because it's such the one verse is the whole song. Like
right?
so I feel like I feel like that's kind of cheating. Um what about man, I'm blanking right now. If I was on stage, they said I was choking, get that water. Can't, get your verse off. Get your um Big had a song on obviously on Ready to Die. Um Maybe it was Warning. Is it Warning? Let's see. Warning. All right, let's just this is because this is one thing I do like about Big is it's the storytelling. Like I feel like Pac raps as like the overseer. You know what I mean? He's like telling you about this, but that happened over there, and I saw this, so I did this, and watch how I move. Like he's very much like the intelligent overseer. I feel like Big is very much like I'm in the trenches, I'm in it, and I can articulate it in this incredible way so that other people can understand what we going through. So they again, I agree with you. They wouldn't be compared, they just be appreciated if they didn't have a beef. All right, so we don't cuss on here. You know, we want to monetize eventually. So who the F is this? Paging me at 5:46 in the morning, crack of dawning, and now I'm yawning. Wipe the coal out my eyes. See who's this paging me and why. It's my boy Pop from the barbershop. Told me he was in the gambling spot and heard an intricate plot. Brothers want to stick you like fly paper, neighbor. Slow down, love. Please chill. Drop the caper. Remember them bros from up the hill? Sorry, from the hill up in Brownsville that you rolled dice with, smoked blunts, and got nice with? Yeah, the homie Fame up in Prospect. Nah, them my homies. Nah, love wouldn't disrespect. I didn't say them. They schooled me to some brothers that you knew from back when you was clocking minor figures. Now they heard you blowing up like nitro and they want to stick the knife through your windpipe slow. So thank Fame for warning me, because now I'm warning you. I got the Mac. Big, tell me what you wanted to do. All right, I just went with that. That ain't no, nothing lyrically crazy, but it's very much storytelling. One thing I love about this is it's so detailed and illustrative. It's like I'm not just rapping it. I'm trying to bring you there. Whether I'm telling you the time, what the day looks like, wiping coal out my eye, the names. Well, you said this. No, it was this. No, over here. And then in the midst of that, there's still wordplay. The sticky like fly paper, neighbor. Little catchy things to kind of keep you in the story. I feel like Big was good with word candy.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, for sure. I mean, I'm actually surprised you didn't bring up that track he did with uh with Jay-Z. Let the
That's a fire.
paramedics breathe soft on him. What's your name? Right? Like you know what I'm talking.
Oh man,
I'm surprised you didn't bring that one up. That was your joint.
That one would be cheating because again, it's a back and forth. So I'd have to also read Jay's part for it to make sense.
Right.
But the point was, like, if I was really trying to pit them against each other, it'd be like, all right, pick your best Pac versus I'll pick my best. I was just more or less trying to, in that moment, illustrate the greatness, the difference, and just kind of celebrate the two MCs. Because I agree with you.
I think Pac had storytelling stuff too. I mean,
Dear
Mama was that Me and My Girlfriend was
Brenda's
that
Got a Baby.
Brenda's Got a Baby was
one
that
of the most classic.
So to me, it's like they both did it in their own way.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like once again, I don't really compare the two. I just know what I prefer, and that's all I can say.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, they're their own MCs. I mean, it's funny because I feel like people. I mean, it's like if I said Missy Elliott, people would be like, well, why not Lauryn Hill? Well, I'm saying Lauryn Hill too, but for totally different reasons. And she kind of hit me at a certain spot. That's why she occupies a space for me. And Missy Elliott probably occupies the most space for me just because of all the crazy creative. And also, we got to see Missy Elliott fully blossom.
Absolutely.
We didn't get to see Lauryn Hill fully blossom.
Right.
We got to see Queen Latifah fully blossom on multiple levels as well, too. I mean, in a way, like, I'm kind of sad that we kind of lost her as a hip hop icon in a way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like all of the energy that went into the acting and all that stuff was great. She's awesome. But imagine if those would have been albums, what we would have.
Right. And I think she does a good job of reminding people, oh, but don't forget about this. It's just that she doesn't do it. Like she'll bring it up. She'll have conversations and interviews, and they're like, yo, so what did you always be like? Yo, my first love is hip hop. Hip
Right.
hop was what got me into, you know what I mean? Like she brings it up to this day,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't hear the love for it. Like you might know it's there, it got her there, but
Right.
you don't get a chance to experience it in your space now. I would love to hear your bars about, L'Oreal. I would love to hear your bars about doing Chicago. I would love to hear, what I'm saying, this new evolved queen that has experienced life way beyond what she had before when we knew her as a rap artist. I would love to hear that now in a new space of, okay, now I'm in superstardom. I mean,
Yeah.
arguably, what other female rapper can put themselves above Queen as far as accolades, as far as heights that they've reached? Who
Yeah, not
compare?
many, not many, not many at all. Now, who my fifth favorite rapper
We got it. We got
is
it.
going to be controversial because
Oh,
it's
okay.
going to be argued.
Well, you
That's
started with controversy. You said
uh-huh.
people argue about your number one,
Now
so we
this is
might
going
as
to
well end
be.
the list.
I might not have friends after this. They might, you know what I
Mm.
mean. I might have to practice my kung fu on an extra level after I say this shit.
All
I
right,
mean
let's hear it.
stuff,
Let's hear
things.
it. Let's hear it.
Uh, Beyonce. Beyonce got bars. Beyonce got bars.
It's funny you say that though, because when of course, knee jerk, you're like, bro, did you forget the conversation? But you are right that Beyonce has spit some crazy bars with great timing, perfect performance of them, great um um like
Uh-oh. Breaking up.
character. You lost me? Am I good?
Yeah, I lost you for a second. We're good now.
Okay. Like with swag, like she delivers it as it needs to be delivered. The
Mhm.
only reason I can't put her there is because I don't know if she writes it. I just have no clue. I've never
I
looked
mean,
into it.
I can't
I've
say
never
that
heard
about
anybody
any
talk
of the
about it.
I can't really say that about any of the current rappers either. You know what I mean? Like I can't really say do they write it? Like I don't know. I mean, I want to say that they can, but I'm just going to say Beyonce got bars. Now this is the reason why I can't put some of the other people in the same category. You'll notice a theme with me. Like I just can't deal with certain ways that people go. Like even if they're barred out. Like I can't follow if I can't follow you all the way, I can't follow you. You know what I mean? And so there's a lot of the lady rappers now that they coming with some heat, but because they come with all this other stuff that I'm not really interested in engaging with, they're out for me. So like that's the reason why they're not getting listed. It's, you know what I mean? So I'm really going with the classic. Oh, you know who else got bars? Who is controversial? Erica Badu got bars.
Okay, hold on, man. Hold on. Because it's not that we need to talk about who you picked. I feel like we need to address who you didn't pick. You, so in your list, you have went to Beyonce
Before I went to some other people, yeah.
before you went to a Little Kim, before you
Yeah.
went to a Foxy Brown.
Okay, so this is the problem for me with Lil Kim and Foxy
And
Brown.
and they have bodies of work. Like, understand what you're saying. Like, Beyonce will have like 4 bars here or an intro over there, and they're coming with that work. And you're
Don't get
like,
me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna say I never didn't like a Little Kim song. Yeah, there were some Lil Kim songs that I liked, but there was so much that was kind of in this other zone that I couldn't rock with because I don't really I don't really want that from my, you know what I'm saying? I don't really want that from rap, like some of the things that she puts out there. Same thing with Foxy Brown. I mean, to me, I don't know what it was about Foxy Brown, but I couldn't go the distance with her. Like, yeah, there was a verse. Okay. I'll be good. Okay. All right. Right. That was
mhm.
tight. But I couldn't go the distance with all of her material. So for me, that's kind of a part of it. Like I could go the distance with a ton of MC Light's material. I could go the distance with a ton of Queen Latifah's material. I could go the distance with Lauryn Hill's material, even though it's a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's
Dang.
I could go the distance with Missy Elliott. I can't go the distance with these other folks. And it's not the
Lady of
distance.
Rage.
Lady of Rage she was raw.
The Brat. Come on, man. Me and you we got a history with Funktify. Come on, man.
Okay.
The Brat.
Okay.
I mean, the Brat ain't did enough to beat out Beyonce
the Brat because
in the top five. Beyonce, the Brat has not done enough to beat out Beyonce in a top 5 rap artist. What?
Okay,
you could have went controversial. Even if you had said, you know what, I'm going controversial. I'm going Bay Area Sugar T. I'd be like, okay.
Like this is the thing. This is the reason why for me. This is the thing that I had a hard time with Da Brat. She was raw, but she was a Snoop clone.
You said Da Brat was a Snoop clone?
Yeah, her whole rat-tat-tat-tat, the whole thing. So I didn't really hear anything that deviated far from that made her unique to me, that made me want to, like, you know what I mean? I could like the track, but you know what I mean? Like everybody I named were themselves. They came out full forces themselves. They weren't doing a shtick.
I never really compared the two. And I see Jay with Roxanne Shante. Great pick.
Yeah.
I've never even heard that. So, but it's not a bad observation, I guess.
She was the female Snoop, and so was and Little Bow Wow was the little boy Snoop. That's what it was.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I mean? But that also goes to, you know, the highest form of flattery. We know what that is. And when you have artists that are the first, then they don't get shrouded in that. But I'm pretty sure that if you investigated enough, you would hear maybe the male equivalent of the MC Light, or a male equivalent of the where Queen kind of gets her thing from.
But there's nobody that you could point to that actually fits that, right? There's nobody that
you'd have to invest. Same way.
I don't even have to investigate the Brat though. It's not even investigatable. It's right in your face. It's like,
but I didn't know it.
No, it's like Bruce. It's like Bruce Lee and Bruce Lay. You know, we all know who Bruce Lee and Bruce Lay was trying to be, and Bruce Leroy. We all know who they was trying to be, and it's the reason why Jackie Chan stands out, because Jackie Chan said, "I don't want to be a Bruce Lee clone. I want to be my own thing," and he became his own thing. And so for me, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm sorry. I like a Bruce Lee movie for fun, but right. I'm not gonna follow his career after that's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I see Jay saying Moni Love.
I almost said Moni Love because Moni Love. I love me some Moni Love.
You gotta love some Moni Love.
But
hold on, Jay. How you gonna hate on Sugar T though? Slicked out me, Sugar T from the V. I'm quick to squab. Always down for the job. Come on. Yeah. Boom, 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 bop, boom.
Listen. Me and Sugar T, we share an area code. I always got love for Sugar T. I do. I got love for 40 Water and the whole family.
You got to. Come on.
I do. Man. I got love. But we're talking about my top 5.
Yes. No, I don't disagree that she shouldn't be on. I'm just like, there are a lot. I'm not. Hey, everybody's top 5 or top 10 is they top whatever, right?
Right. I'm not dissing nobody. I love the Brat.
I was more saying that's just crazy. That it's like if I gave you my top 5 hip hop artists of all time, and I rounded it out with The Weeknd, you'd be like, but if I was like, yo, but he got bars, you'd be like, yeah, but you can. And there's not 5 other.
Well, this is the only reason I'm saying it, because it's not like she was singing them lyrics. She was rapping, like she was spitting the bars.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, You know what I mean? And it's just like if I would have put a dude, like all you would have had to do was put a rapper on that track,
Mhm.
out, not her, and you would have, oh, that was barred out. Who was that rapper?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
Um,
dude, I've heard her rap some stuff and I was like, ooh,
yeah,
like that driver pulling up the partition, please. Doom, 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 doom. Driver roll. When she started rhyming, I was like, yo, whether you wrote it or someone else wrote it, your performance is impeccable.
I heard she freestyled it in the studio. She just made it. That's what I'm saying. That's like Lil Wayne bar type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
If
sorry.
if Beyonce freestyled that partition song,
I heard she did.
dude, she might you might have a point. She might be top 3 if she was able to. I don't want you seeing Beyonce on her knees. Like if she freestyled that,
Dude, I'm telling you,
that's
I,
fire.
I'm telling you, I'm sorry. Like,
That's fire.
that's why it's controversial. But you know, I like the reason why I have to say that. I already said Missy Elliott, somebody who can sing
Yeah,
and rap, somebody who goes in between the two,
yeah,
right? So you can already tell I like that, right? Like Beyonce does that. She just don't get credit for being a rapper because she didn't come out as a rapper who could sing. She came out as a singer who just happens to drop bars on us every now and then,
yeah,
and who could hold her own next to her husband, like on a track. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. So
uh,
that's the top 5. It's crazy how what I thought was a softball question, which I guess I should have known,
you should have
turned
known.
into a 1 hour, like pretty much the whole show. Um we have dove into the top 5, but one thing I think that is dope is to hear that you love the fully developed and the multi-expressed style of artists. You got Missy Elliott, who is, one of the top rap entertainers of all time, like you said, excluding the female, designation. She's also, great rapper, singer, producer. She dances. She's created probably more stuff than we know. She's also, brought in other talent. She brought in Tink. She's that chick.
Mm-hmm.
Then you go to Lauryn Hill, who undoubtedly made her mark with one album that has almost yet to be culturally accepted, that some other female artist made a better album than that. Like just overall, like a better composition of work. And so she sings, she's a musician, she's a rapper, she's an actress and a great actress. Like
Mm-hmm.
she's solid. You watch her act in Sister Act 2, it's like, no, this ain't some rapper.
Right.
This is a solid actress. Then you go
Mm-hmm.
to Queen Latifah, who's done everything from rapping, singing, directing, acting, modeling, talk show host, done it all. Done it all. One of the greats. I love her in House Party 2. I think it was House Party 2. I can't remember. Anyway, um, then you go to MC Light. Now, Light hasn't done as much
She's done
multi.
acting.
She
She's
has
done
done acting.
hosting. She's done all
She has
kinds
done
of
hosting. That's
production.
right.
Yeah, she's
Yeah, yeah,
all kind
yeah,
of production stuff. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yep,
she's created a lane for herself in the
yep.
industry.
This is
So
true.
you
My
know, I
bad,
got,
Light. You're right.
yeah,
You're right.
I got respect for that. And you know, like I said, Beyonce on a whole nother level. Now, not to go back to Pac, but now you can understand why I'm
But going
also
back to
saying
Pac. But going
Pac is
back
in
to Pac.
another level because he was an actor. When I saw, like, listen, he killed it on Juice.
Oh yeah.
Killed it.
Oh yeah.
Killed it on
You
Above the Rim.
you you like to the point hated or loved him. His performance was so good. Like you were sitting there like, oh man, like he brought you in.
Brought
Absolutely.
you in. Yeah. So like that was it was ridiculous. And he was the
Yeah.
best bad guy. I mean, he scared me. I was scared of Pac. I was like, this dude's crazy. Right. And then when I saw him do Gridlock,
Mm.
that was like he really showed his range. And I was like, man, this dude got cut short too. Now, imagine any of these artists, including Big and all the, oh, I got cut off. Imagine Big and all of these people that we talked about All these people live out the full range of their abilities and not get cut short. And that's the world I want to see.
Yeah. 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 No, that's different. That's different. And I think, like you said, listening to how you uh, classify what the artist brings to the table more than just rap and how that allows them to penetrate your top 5 list. I think that that's a good segue that we'll go into when I bring you back on, hopefully next week. I want to talk about, and like I said, you're gonna be here a lot, so get comfortable, get comfortable. Um, but I want to talk about how to structure a top 10 list,
Mm,
because I talked about that before with some people just privately on how if you just say name your top 10, people are going to do what we all do. You're going to just kind of name the top 10 that you like. But if you gave it parameters
mhm,
and said something like they had to do more than just rap, maybe that was one of your parameters, or maybe
mhm,
yours was specific. They had to show their creative side in at least 4 ways.
mhm,
Maybe yours was they've yet to be duplicated.
mhm,
They created their own lane. They hit the Billboard charts X amount of times, like whatever your thing is. Then all of a sudden you'll realize that like there's people that you have to put in the list that maybe you wouldn't have put in there if it was just your personal choice.
mhm,
Like if I do my personal top 10,
mhm,
I hate to say it out loud because I'm a West Coast kid, but Pac doesn't make it into
mhm,
my top 10.
mhm,
And that's only because Pac rapped about things that I didn't know about. It didn't resonate with me. Like
mm.
when he said I couldn't find a place to rest until I got that thug life tatted on my chest. It's like I can't connect with I don't know myself. I can't connect with that. And
But
then I get
you
stuck.
could connect with the lyrics that we were listening to about like my homie's trying to shoot me up. Like you could
But I can be from it's more of a storytelling thing. So me as a rapper, I consider myself to be a storyteller. So someone able to find the timing to put all the detail in it, not take anything out, give you a perfectly detailed story in time, in sequence, make it entertaining. Like it's more of the art behind it. But
you
when
want
you
to
just
watch a
saying
movie in your
exactly,
yeah, I get it. I get it. I
exactly,
understand. And I can understand how like if you were saying your top 5, it's like first of all, you got to be illustrative for me, right? To
right,
be in my top 5. You got to illustrate something. That's why you might like Nas or you might like Big or you might like I'm trying
Eminem,
Eminem, yeah, Eminem, right? So or Jay, like who
yeah,
who might tell a story or whatever and take you on a little journey with them. So that
right.
might be, what your criteria is. And I think you got to know what your criteria is and what stands out to you. Some people will just be like, why do you like him? And this people used to clown on me for saying it's dope. Like it's dope. Like, so at this age, I have more to say about it.
Right.
Before I might not have known what about certain things stood out to me or
Yeah.
what I liked about it. And so for me, like you said, like a full artist, even how they display it on their albums, even if they're not doing the other things, like those other things count towards it. But when I just listen to them individually as a creative body of work, that's
Right.
that's how I can tell. And
Right.
like I said, Lauryn Hill, we didn't really get to see what she could have done had she not been um, kind of cut short. I
Right.
mean, she's still here; she can still do it, but like,
Right. She's probably not.
yeah,
Anybody who's seen her in recent concerts, she's probably not. She's probably not.
I
But
don't know.
but having a great criteria, I think, can add to a great conversation about a list. Because I started there was one additive that I put in. I said something about they were important to the culture, like they caused a shift. It was
Hmm.
something I can't remember how I worded it. And for the first time ever in any of my top 10 lists that I've ever done, I
Hmm.
had to put Snoop in there because I'm
Snoop
like,
caused a
no, but
shift.
Snoop is a whole thing.
He's
And
a whole thing.
he's a whole thing. So if you're not just focused on lyricism and rapping ability and all of that, but you start focusing on the footprint, you start focusing on would the rap game, maybe that's how I word it, like would the rap game be the same if you remove them? So there are
No, yeah.
some people that are just let's say you love Talib Kweli.
Mhm.
Well, you can love Talib Kweli, you can love Black Star, you can love all that, but the game would be exactly the same without Talib Kweli. It
It'd
would
be
be exactly
it
the same,
no, it would be an
but
alternate universe.
Talib
It would be an alternate
Kweli.
universe. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not saying that it would like that it would be this great shift, but I'm saying it would be a Twilight Zone alternate universe. I'm sure there's a universe where Michael Jackson, Luther Vandross, and Whitney Houston are still alive. And we're in the Twilight Zone version, right? Like we're living in some kind of thing. So I think it would be different because Black Star, Talib's albums made a difference. Now, uh, maybe not the impact of like a LL Cool J or a Run DMC, but they
Right,
did.
but what you're saying is the point. Are there artists who have made an impression that maybe they did shift the ecosphere somewhat, but do they make it to the top 10?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
You
an
see what I'm
argument.
saying?
Yeah, 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 sure.
And so that's
Yeah.
that's what so maybe I
So
shouldn't
you
say
wouldn't put Talib in your list because you don't feel like he's made that level of impact in the rap game as somebody like Snoop.
absolutely. Well,
Okay.
with that criteria. Now let's say
Okay.
we structured a different criteria and we were saying like top 10
Lyricist.
lyricists, but one of the criteria was like underrated
Uh-huh.
or underappreciated or something like that.
Okay, I like this list. This will be a fun list because we
You
could
see what
we
I'm
could delve
saying?
into a lot of people. Talib would be on that list for sure. Devin the Dude would be on that list.
Easily,
You know what I mean? There's a
easily.
lot of folks that
There's a
would be
lot
on
of that.
that list.
And that, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you and I think that will be fun as an ongoing thing. If you tweak just little things on the list, you might wipe out 8 people off the top 10 list and got to come up with a whole new list dang near just because of that one factor.
Oh man, you know who else is on that list?
So
Inspector Deck.
facts.
You know what's so funny? He is the most underrated. We got to save this for another show. We
Yeah,
got to
yeah.
save this for another show because you know me, you know what I do.
what we've been doing, but
Mhm.
it's been a good conversation. We got a recap for anybody that's just joining. My man Sheldon has given his top 5 female rap artists of all time, including anybody, any name that you can bring up. We thought about it or we dove into it a little bit, but the top 5 list stands as such from my man. Number 1, Missy Elliott. Number 2, Lauryn Hill. Number 3, Queen Latifah. Number 4, MC Light. And number 5, Beyonce. If you missed it, you missed it. Rewind. And you'll
Yeah.
understand why Beyonce made the list. You don't have to agree with the list, but you got to respect it. Everybody has their opinion in music. If you got a better list, hey, put it up.
Put it up.
Join us next time. We'll keep this going. I love to hear everybody else's list because I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna throw out something that maybe we just didn't think about. Like that's the beauty of music. There's so much music that sometimes you forget who did something. You forget certain artists, and then you like somebody says them, and you're like, oh shoot, maybe I need to rethink because now when you say them, like I kind of do like them better than you. Just never know.
Never know.
Never know. Well, my guy, it's been great, man. I appreciate you, Jay. Thanks for being in the chat, rocking with us.
Yeah.
Anybody else that watched the stream, whether you're watching this right now in 2023 or in the future in 2042, and you have no clue on some of the artists, do your research if you love hip hop. Do
Yeah.
your research. Know the culture. We came from a place, you know what I'm saying? I think that happens a lot in rap music, especially we kind of move on from the past. Rock and roll, they know their past. Country music, they know their past. A lot of times with us, we like, that's old. We're on to something else.
Well, actually, those things are exactly the example of that because rock and roll, us, country blues,
I wasn't even
us.
gonna go there.
You know, yay!
I wasn't even gonna go there. I was just gonna
You
say,
can't drop stuff.
oh, that's true. I gotta watch that. I gotta watch that with Shell. That's my bad, Shell. My bad. We're gonna next time we're gonna get into um the black culture's contribution to American music overall. Mm.
Mm,
And we're gonna
tasty.
set aside a little more time for that one. We're gonna
Yeah,
because that's gonna be one. So
yeah.
follow us,
For you too, Jay.
follow us. How can they catch you, Shell? Where can they follow you online?
I'm on Instagram, sun.shaolin, because that's my real thing is the kung fu thing. So
Yeah.
if you want to check me out, and I got a hip hop moniker in my kung fu thing. So yeah, so check it out.
Respect. All right, y'all. It's been real. Oh, I forgot to tell you. I should have said this way earlier. Sorry, y'all. It's still episode 2, so I'm still getting into the groove of things. When I say pod is good, you're supposed to say all the time. When I say all the time, you say pod is
Pod is
good.
good.
You
All
feel
right.
me? So we're gonna sign off. Pod is good,
All the time.
and all the time.
Pod is good.
It's your man Cashmere, California. My guest Sheldon. Has been a great one. We'll holler at y'all later.
All right. Later.
Peace.